Hello, my name is Daniel and I'm a My Academic Family mentor and careers professional currently working at University of Glasgow. In today's short video, I'm going to be sharing some information with you about the career planning process. Specifically, we are going to look at how to get started when you don't know what you want to do, and we're going to answer two key questions. One, what is it that you actually want? And two, what opportunities exist and where can you find them? The initial thought of how to get started, especially if you're feeling a bit behind others, is to rush in and start sending your CV to employers or submitting applications. Whilst this can feel quite rewarding, that feeling might not last long, as it's unlikely to lead to the results that you want. That's because you've missed out some key parts of the career planning process. You'll have a better chance of hearing back from a recruiter and being happy in the role that you're applying to if you think carefully about what it is that you want and what opportunities exist. The career development pyramid on screen here represents a number of career theories which essentially say that starting with self reflection, then undertaking some research, and using the learning from this will actually help to shape your application. Self reflection can be difficult, and sometimes it can feel a bit daunting. But let's start by thinking more about what it is that you want. On screen now, you'll see a range of areas that you could consider to explore what is important to you and what's not. For example, is location important to you? If yes, are we talking about Glasgow, the central belt of Scotland, Scotland itself, the UK? Location can be an important factor due to family, funding, accommodation, and a whole host of other reasons. Knowing whether you have a preference can also help when it comes to using job filters on online jobs boards, as it will help to restrict the opportunities to the ones that are in the right location to where you want to be. Start interrogating all of these areas and build your list of what matters to you. Do you want to use knowledge from a specific qualification or degree? Are you looking for job security and therefore need to consider how future proof the role is? Are things like the people you'll work with or the working environment an important consideration in what you want? This is going to be different for everyone, and your answer is going to be personal to you. Use this information to build your own list that you can then use to assess future jobs that you come across and whether they're right for you or not. Now, it's unlikely that you will find something that meets all of your criteria, but you could decide to use this list as a way to decide what you want to spend your time applying for. Let's say your list has 10 things. If a role only meets one or two of these priorities, is it worth spending your time on an application? This is a great exercise to really get you thinking about what you really want. You can also look to what you know already. Most people will have some form of previous experience, whether work or study related. Think of school, part time work, volunteering, etc. Have you spent time reflecting on these? Most people haven't, but it can be a really effective way of learning more about yourself. Start by making a list of the experiences you had. Then, for each one, start asking yourself some of these questions. What did you like or dislike about this experience? What skills did you develop? What was it that motivated you or demotivated you? Were you good at anything particular? Was there anything that you were not so good at? What kind of people did you like spending time with? What inspired you? Answer these questions and look for themes. Start to draw out the kind of things that you would want to see in any future role that you're applying for. Here are some examples of how you can then apply this knowledge. Maybe you really value being an expert. Well, try to consider roles in your sector or sectors of interest where you can action this, like an auditor or a data analyst or a policy officer. Perhaps you really want to make a difference to others. Look at the roles that give you this reward. A teacher, working in the NHS, working in a charity. Maybe it's a high level of reward that you're after. Well, consider more commercial roles or commercial organisations, like an accountant, a lawyer, or a banker, for example. You could also think about this in terms of a particular skill. You really want to use your communication skills, or you want to utilise a second language that you can speak. Some people also follow their passions. The environment or sustainability is a good example of this, with roles spanning multiple organisations and sectors. Self reflection can be difficult. So, if you need more support, or actually if you've enjoyed exploring this and you wanted to do more, there are lots of tools that exist to help, and I've given a few examples of these on screen here. from career planning quizzes to reviewing your strengths to taking a career interest test. Okay, so once you have a better idea of what it is that you want, you can move on to thinking about applying this to actual opportunities and thinking about what opportunities exist. In terms of what options there are after university, the most popular options tend to be a graduate scheme, a graduate job, going on to further study, so postgraduate or a PhD. Some students also think about taking some time out. They've been in education for a long time and they want a bit of a break. And obviously, there's self employment as an option as well. Now, from the data that we have, typically the ones at the top here, your graduate scheme or job and further study, these are going to be the most popular options. If I were to tell you to go and search for an opportunity right now, what would you do? Did you say or think about doing a Google search or using a site like Indeed? Whilst both of these are fine, this would be the answer for 99% of the people that I asked. This means that you are all likely to be finding and applying for the same kind of roles. Now is the time to change up your search and find more specific sites that will help you find the roles that you actually want. And here are 4 better sites to get you started. 1. Prospects.ac.uk, a fantastic site with lots of specific job profiles that lead to sector and job specific websites. 2. LinkedIn. This has a great job search feature that you can access with a free account. You don't need to have an amazing profile to search for the jobs, but this could be a good thing to come back to on another day. I'm actually going to demo those 2 sites after this slide. 3, the Times Top 100. Again, you'll need an account to access this, but this is a really good resource for finding some of the larger organizations who typically offer summer internships and graduate schemes. And finally, 4, if you're interested in further study, sites like Find a Master's or Find a PhD are a good way of looking for opportunities, but also for getting more information on things like funding and more information on how to apply. Okay, so this is the Prospects website, and it's a really, really good place to get to some of that sector-specific information. And there's a few ways you can access it. The first is just at the top here. You can go straight to the job profiles and have a look about what you're interested. You can have a think about what you can do with my degree, or you can even just kind of use the magnifying glass to search for what you're after. I'm going to show you the what can I do with my degree one today. So if we click this, you'll see that there's a whole A to Z here of all sorts of different degrees, pretty much everything covered. If you can't find the one that you're looking for, just find something use similar or try some of the other words. So English literature, for example, is just under English. So again, we'll try that one today. So we click on English. And what it's going to do here is it's going to bring up some of the kind of jobs that are directly related to your degree. So again, we're not kind of, we don't need to know exactly what you want to do. I'm just going to show you some examples of how to get there. So let's say you might be interested in being an editorial assistant or something like that. Again, what it's going to do is they've created these kind of job profiles, and down the side here you'll see they've covered lots of information from responsibilities to salary to qualifications. The bits that I'm particularly interested in is if we go down, we're looking for this kind of employer section here. Now, why I think this is particularly good is they've done a lot of the work for you in collating some of this information. So you can see these are the kind of employers that would recruit for an editorial assistant. So again, it talks a little bit about the kind of sector, and then underneath that, look, it's pulled together some specific job websites here. So now we've got Book Careers, Guardian Jobs, Independent Publishers Guild, and so on. It goes on to talk a bit about other places that you can find it, so recruitment agencies and things like that. But effectively, for all of the job profiles on this site, it does something exactly similar. And let me just show you what I mean. If we go back one, and then we click on something different. So if we go on charity officer, again, you'll see it's the same kind of setup. But if we move down the page, okay, again, you get to that employers section, and then look here, you've got look for job vacancies at, and then we've got some specific websites. So this is how you can really move your search, just from taking it from thinking about Indeed or a Google search, this is where you're going to get into the kind of more variety of the jobs that you want to be seeing. And this is the LinkedIn job search. So again, it's just a different way of looking at some of these results, but it's got some really good filters that you can have a look at. So I'm going to show them to you just now. So First off, in this bit, you can put a title, a skill, or a company that you're looking for. So let's just try something related to policy. And then if we click on that, it's going to show you, look, we've got 6,000 search results that are coming through here. It automatically sets it to the United Kingdom. So again, if that location thing was important to you, we can just change that here, and I can say, right, actually, I'm looking for Glasgow specifically. And again, the more filters that we put on, the narrower it's going to get. So look, we're already down to 500 jobs here. You can actually search by distance to Glasgow. So I'm actually saying, look, I don't really want to travel that much. So I'm going to move it down to 16 kilometers. And then also we can have a look at experience level. So yeah, maybe I'm looking for an internship or an entry level role. So I'm going to apply them as well. So okay, now we're down to about 100 results. What you'll see here is that you can now kind of scroll through this list. And on LinkedIn, I would say some of them are these kind of promoted jobs. Just try to ignore them the best you can. And then once you scroll down a little bit, you'll actually get to some more that aren't kind of those promoted, and you'll see that they're kind of related to policy. A little bit more. So again, we've got some government roles, some NHS roles coming through, Police Scotland, and so forth. If you click on any of these, if I use this one, for example, again, it's going to click over on the side here, and this is going to take you to the website to apply and things like that. But actually, if you scroll down, it's just going to tell you a little bit of information about the job and so on and so forth. The other things that you can do here is we can look at things that have been posted in the last week or the past 24 hours. We look at particular salaries and so on and so forth, even down to kind of specific companies that you want to work for. It is trialing a new AI job search at the moment, so again, try that out if you're keen. But once you're seeing the kind of things that you're interested in here, what I would do is I would just click this button here, set alert, and you'll see here down here it's created you a job alert. And all that means is basically every week you'll get a little notification up here to say 10 new jobs have been found in your search criteria, so you don't need to do this every time. That concludes this short video. I hope that this has been helpful in giving you some initial ideas about how to get started when thinking about what next. Best of luck for the future.